Hello and welcome into your Game 5 Bruins fan review for the first round series of the 2019 Stanley Cup playoffs against the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Bruins would lose this one 2-1, and they now put themselves in a hole of being down 3-2. We now have to go to Toronto and win, and then come back home and win in Boston. And as much as I am nervous and I don't favor the Bruins in this series anymore, I think the Leafs will win in 6. If you let it come back to Boston, that's a big mistake. That's a big mistake for Toronto. It really is. And I know the Bruins haven't looked good, but Game 7s haven't been friendly to Toronto in the past against the Bruins in the first round. And I'm not saying the Bruins will win, but you can only blame yourselves if you lose now, Toronto. You can't blame the Bruins. You can't blame anything, really. You can only blame yourself because you guys have been the better team up to this point. And I think if you lose the series, it's choking. That being said, I don't expect you to. I expect you to close this out in Game 6. That is what I think is going to happen now. So I've changed my stance a little. I'm still going to keep the Bruins in 7 on my Twitter handle because, got to be a fan at heart though, right? But let me tell you this much. It was a close game. The better team won this game. But this first goal is really bothering me because it really... All right, let's talk about the goal first before I talk about the effect it had on the game. So, as you can see, Jake Muzzin coming in, if you look at the top right picture, he comes in, he fakes a shot, opens up the lane to pass it to Austin Matthews there. As you can see, the Bruins player right there should be cutting off that passing lane, the one that's in the slot, like right in the slot. He should be trying to cut off that passing lane. He does not. Jake Muzzin spots Austin Matthews. As you can see on the right side, Austin Matthews puts it past Tuukka Rask, and Tuukka Rask almost gets his leg over, but he couldn't get there in time. Now, if you look at the bottom left picture, this is what bothers me. He's clearly in Rask's kitchen. Like, he's on him. It's contact. It's clear contact. And I really don't care if you say, well, Rask wasn't going to save it anyway. That has nothing to do with the rule. He literally is right on top of Rask. And you can say Rask didn't get over. Well, how is he supposed to get over when a guy's on top of him? It's impossible to recognize where the shot's coming from or where the pass is going when the guy's arm is right in your mask and contacting you. It's hard. This goal should have been overturned. That's what I will say. I'll say that. 11:33 into the third. All the air came out of the building at this point. It really changed the flow of the game, and the Leafs were able to strike right after, which you can say, well, they should have defended that second goal. You guys did get a goal, and you can only blame yourselves, which part of that is true, but to say this doesn't change the flow of a game and it doesn't affect the outcome would just be turning a blind eye to something here that you really shouldn't have to. And I really think this should get overturned. I don't think I'm that biased in saying this. You saw a lot of goalies coming out of the woodwork here. Chris Mason, it's got to be goaltender interference. Mike McKenna, that was goalie interference in the Boston-Toronto game, period. Cam Talbot went a little stronger. And games are being lost in the playoffs, and it's not right. Because it really changes the flow. You don't know what was going to happen after this if it got overturned, but it didn't get overturned, and the momentum heavily swung in Toronto's favor after this. And Marty Biron, former goalie, also had a comment on it. But, it is what it is at the end of the day, and you have to play good hockey after this, and the Bruins just had a bad little few minutes here. And eventually I skipped Kapanen's goal, my bad. Kapanen would get on the board here. And as you can see, this is 3-on-2, so Leafs do have the numbers here. John Moore is the reason this goal happens. As you can see in the bottom left picture, he is drifting towards the middle there when Krug is taking the guy in the middle. And he's going to say, you're going to have to shoot it there, throw it into traffic and hope. John Moore, for some reason, comes over. And as you can see, Torrey Krug realizes John Moore is coming over, so he's going to take the guy taking the shot now, which shouldn't have to happen. And John Moore doesn't really take out the guy behind him, or the guy who eventually gets the puck, which is Kasperi Kapanen, who blows it by Rask, and Rask had no chance on that one. Rask had probably one of his best games of the series so far, and the Bruins didn't play well enough around him to win. Because at the end of the day, even though I do think that Matthews' goal changed the flow of the game, it wasn't a great performance by the Bruins, which I feel like I'd be more upset about it if the Bruins had played a good game and they got screwed over because of that. But that just wasn't the case. They didn't play a good game and they got screwed over. So, it's just more depressing than me being upset. It's more depressing than being frustrated, I guess you could say. Krejci would eventually strike back, and I do think this goal was offsides. I don't think it should have counted. At the same time, there's no real clear cut photo of it being offsides or onsides. It's really hard to tell. But just like a gut feeling, it looks offsides to me. That picture on the bottom left, it looks like it's still on the line and Marchand's in the zone. I think it's offsides. But nonetheless, insanely beautiful pass by Pastrnak through the Toronto defender's legs right there. And then a one-time by Krejci to put them back by 1 with 45 seconds to go. They eventually get down to like 1 second face-off. Marchand gets a shot. Anderson wasn't letting it go in. Anderson played a good game. Not his heaviest workload for a shutout, not the best chances against. Oh, he didn't get the shutout. He almost got the shutout. He would have got the shutout if this didn't count. But, it's really Anderson played a good game. That's what I'll say there. Post-game thoughts. I took 3 tweets here to kind of just talk and reflect on this. One's Johnny Bruin. If I know the first goal was interference, but it wasn't the difference maker at the end, which I disagree with that part of the tweet because they won by 1 and that's the difference. But this is the part I agree with. I hate to admit it, but the better team won. Give the Leafs credit, which the Leafs played a very good, complete game. They won in Boston. Bruins have to do it in Toronto now. # not confident. I agree with I don't agree with the first half of that tweet, but the second half of the tweet, he really drills in. That's why I included it. Cray Messer, and this is really the wrong attitude to take right now. I feel like after Game 6, if you lose, that's the attitude to take. But too early. Another disappointing playoff series. Already calling it over, bud. From the NHL Bruins. No passion, no guts, no reason to be anything but disgusted. See you next year. And I get where he's coming from. But if you're going to tell me the Bruins can't win Game 6 in Toronto and win Game 7 at home, you're kidding yourself. I mean, I'm not saying they will or it's likely, but to say it can happen, it's just not true. They can win this series. It's still up in the air. If you're telling me the Bruins can't win 2 games in a row, I'd say you're wrong. They're not. They probably won't, but they can. And you got to acknowledge that as a Bruins or Leafs fan, that it can happen, and it might. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Toronto wins this in 6. Now, there's really not much else for me to really go into here because, I could go into, some of these advanced stats. Pastrnak had the best game for the Bruins Corsi-wise. Andreas Johnsson with 17 chances for with 4 against. Really good ratio there. There's a lot of things you can look at. But one thing I'd like to talk about is how good Austin Matthews has been. This is what I want to end the video on, because I feel like I do a lot of just nitpicking at the Bruins and blaming the Bruins, but let me show the Leafs some love here because they really deserve it. Andreas Johnsson has been a monster this series for the Toronto Maple Leafs. One of their better depth players who's played in a good prominent role. I believe he's playing on the line with Matthews, right? Right, I'm pulling up their lines right now. It's really just the Leafs are they're coming into their own right now. It really is what it feels like as a fan of the opposite team watching. Yeah, he's playing with Kapanen and Matthews, which they had a great night. You then got Tyler Ennis, who had a pretty good night on the depth. And really, when it comes down to it, I think if you really just get the Bruins' 4th line playing like the line it was early in the year, I think you could see some of these results changing a little. But when you have 10 minutes of the game where you just know you're going to get your crap pushed in, it's really hard because that's 1/6 of the game. Bruins' 4th line just can't do it. And that brings me to that last tweet up there with the line rushes, which I think it's fine to do this. I think maybe you might want to get Pastrnak away from Bergeron and Marchand sometimes because Pastrnak, when you get physical against him, sometimes he fades. And they're going to be putting Muzzin's pair against him, and Muzzin was just eating his lunch early in the series. Johansson with Krejci and DeBrusk, I think that's the smart move. Heinen, Coyle, Kuhlman, it's good to get Noah Acciari out of the lineup. He's been utter trash. Kuraly centering, I was saying Kuraly should have centered in Game 5. He didn't center the line in Game 5. He played wing, which I thought was just dumb in my opinion. Nordstrom and Wagner, that's fine. Yeah, get Backes, get Acciari out of there. They're too slow. I really hope neither of them are on the team next year, and you at least get new blood in the lineup because I think their time's run up. I know Backes' contract's terrible and probably not going to be moved, but still, I don't want to talk about contracts actually. That's something to talk about in the off season. I got all summer to do that. But so the last thing I'll say, and I know I've said that already, the Bruins win Game 6. You gotta hope they can finally pull together a good Game 7 at home, because otherwise I'm gonna be watching the Stanley Cup and playoffs. I'm not gonna be watching my favorite team, which is always a bummer. I enjoy hockey, so I'll enjoy it nonetheless. But this team's window with their players right now who are key, like Marchand, Bergeron, Krejci, it's just not gonna be open forever. And if the Leafs are coming into their own now, it's going to be a lot harder in years going forward. So please, Bruins, please win Game 6 and please win Game 7. That's all I can say as a fan. But credit to the Leafs because they've been playing great this series, and they really deserve the credit. Okay, so that's all I'm going to talk about with you today. I know I kind of went all over the place. It was really an unorganized video, but it was just my thoughts, and it's just how you feel as a fan. But if you want to give me a follow on Twitter, feel free to give me a follow. Hit that like button if you like the video. Leave a comment with how you think the series is going. Do you think the Bruins can come back? Will the Bruins come back? Will the Leafs close out in 6? Will the Leafs close out in 7? Will the Bruins win 7? What do you think? And if you like my content, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be putting up a lot more off-season content this year than I did in years past. Because I'm going to have more free time this summer than I did last summer. So please subscribe even if the Bruins get eliminated. I'm still going to be posting stuff. Probably going to start posting stuff on some other teams in the playoffs just to kill time until the offseason. Then in the offseason I have some ideas as well. But thank you for watching. If you watched up to this point, I appreciate every view, every like, and every comment. And I'll see you for the Game 6 review. Hopefully I can get that up after the game on Easter Sunday. Have a great Easter, guys. Be safe, and see ya.